What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. On today's episode, we've got Richard Walsh. Rich man, how's it going? What's going on?
Rob, I'm doing outstanding. What's going on? So much is going on. Why wouldn't it be going on? We got to make things go on. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
that's what it's all about. I got to make things happen.
yeah. Time of the year. Start taking action if you haven't already. Time of recording, we're almost halfway into the year, so what better time than now to start going with it?
Yeah, for sure, man. Imperfect action. That's
Yeah,
what you take. Just
yeah.
do it.
Love it. So, why don't we, before we kind of dive in too deep, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and who it is you help and what do you do, kind of situation for the audience so they can hear you and kind of connect with you?
Sure, you bet. So again, Richard Walsh. I'm CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a podcast host. I'm a speaker. I'm a U.S. Marine, champion boxer, black belt. I'm a husband and father of 6 kids. I'm an internationally recognized steel sculptor and a business advisor. I help business owners recover lost profits they didn't even know were missing. How's that?
So, in short, you're a badass. Is what do we got?
Yes, I will punch you in the face. Yes.
All right. Well, so what inspired you or led you into this? I heard military background, some athletics and things like that. So, where did things kind of kick off for you?
So it's really interesting coming out of the Marine Corps in the late 80s. I'm swinging a pickaxe, digging trench, okay, in Tucson, Arizona, which has what's called caliche. No matter how hard you throw that pick, you go 2 inches at a time. Okay, there's a guy cleaning out behind you. I did that for $5 an hour every day, all day. And one day a guy came up and said, "Hey, I got a little side job for you. Would you be interested in moving some gravel? They do granite, crushed granite stuff down there for yards instead of grass." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm in. Whatever it takes, man. I'm making $5 an hour." So showed up on Saturday. I bought a wheelbarrow and a shovel with my last $85 before payday, and he had 35 tons of granite in the street. Okay, he's like, "You need to shovel this, bring it to the back, and spread it in the yard." I'm like, "I got this. Do this all day, man. No problem." So soup started. 10 hours later, I'm finished. Wipe myself off, hosing down a little bit with the garden hose, and he comes up and he probably puts $1,000 in my hand. Okay, and I'm looking at that going, "Dang, I did this yesterday for $40. I know my future. I would shovel rock till I die if I can do $1,000 a day." Okay, back then,
Yeah.
so I did. I started a landscape business basically, and that morphed into custom water features. So ponds, waterfalls, streams became one of the best in the country doing that.
Ah,
Then I added steel sculpture to it. I'm like, well, I want to do things with steel. So I taught myself how to weld and started making these incredible things. Next thing you know, I'm doing like world-class exhibits and big shows and winning awards and got stuff on Michigan Avenue, commissions from the Shed Aquarium and Chicago. I'm just doing all this, like, wow, how cool. And I'm just this guy. I
yeah.
started doing stuff because I wanted to. And it's really going well for about 20 years. Got married. Ended up having 6 kids in about 3.5 years, 4 years. Whole nother story. Won't get into that. I don't have the time for that today. But that was wild. And then 08 comes. And then specifically November 5th of 2008, day after the election, I lost $500,000 on that day. That was the beginning of the cliff, right? No one needed a pond, right? Okay. No one
Yeah.
had to have a waterfall in their backyard to get by. Okay, so it kind of like, I remember at the end of the day, I looked at my office manager. I'm like, I think it might be over. I think this could be done. And we lived through part of '09 and struggled on like this, you know. And one day, just kind of wrap the whole thing up here is I had this real epiphany. Like I woke up one morning, I'm thinking about my 6 kids, and I'm thinking, they don't care how many trucks I have. They don't care what kind of house we live in. They don't care what I do for a living. They just want me to be around, and I couldn't be around. One day my 4-year-olds chased me down the driveway as I'm leaving, crying. And I had to go because this is business, man. I got to work. I got to stay number one. I got to stay out front. So I'm laying there and go, man, if I stay on this course, because more is caught than taught with kids, my kids are going to grow up and they're going to have failed marriages, broken relationships, right? They may be good at business, but everything else in their life is going to be trash because of what they saw me do, that kind of thing. Because they're not going to do what you tell them. You can
Yeah.
wish that,
Yeah.
but it ain't going to happen. You got to walk the walk. So I got out of bed, Rob. I went in the office and I said, we're done today. Shut it down, went to my construction yard with my guys, been working with me over 10 years, same guys. Had our last cup of coffee together, like, we're finished. We can't do this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do this. So lost the business, lost my home, I had to relocate, move from Illinois to Wisconsin, everything else. I had to start over. So that, in a nutshell, is
Wow.
where it was. And then I did. I began to repeat it. Did 2 more businesses. Started mentoring other people. Wrote my best-selling book. Created an academy around it. Started coaching, and here we are today.
Wow. That's crazy. I love that what you said there too. More is caught than taught. That's pretty powerful there. And so now most of your day, I guess, is not shoveling gravel. You're with coaching, mentorship, and
Yes.
your academy and such.
Yeah, it really is like a desk jockey now. It's kind of sad. I was working in the garden these last couple of weekends for my wife, like a lot of work. I'm like, dang, I'm not the man I used to be. I used to do this stuff all day. I still did 10 hours, 12 hours, okay, but I'm like, I was feeling it. But
Now
yeah,
it's inside in the air conditioning,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. But you know what? It's, man, the joy I get from helping these businesses turn them around, help them find that profit, give them that freedom, profit, and impact that you can have when you own a business. That's what it's all about. I mean, that
Mm,
great joy comes from that for me, seeing others succeed, helping them get to that point. Because if no one helps them, they'll never get there.
yeah. Why do
They'll
you?
Because what they do, Rob, when someone starts a business, right, you're going to wear all the hats. You're going to work, right? You're going to work hard. There's no
Yeah.
secret sauce. Been doing this 35 years. Haven't figured out the no working hard in the beginning phase. Okay, so if you know about it, please share. But there's no such thing. So that's great. They hustle. They're doing all this stuff. But the problem is, next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and you've repeated the first two 5 times. Because that's like what you know. You started something because you're good at it, not because you're a good business person, right?
Mm,
Most of us, we have a craft, a skill, a trade, whatever it is, and we leverage that, but we don't know how to remove ourselves from the day to day. That's the key, right? So as I started helping businesses, when I started my next 2 businesses, I made that the point not to be that, not to be owned by the business, right? Like it had to serve me. I'm not going to serve it. So people started asking, I started helping them. And as I helped all these other businesses, the exact same patterns, every business was doing all the same wrong things. I'm like, well, this is really common. I thought I was special. Okay. I didn't think anyone else operated at a level like me. Okay. Who just didn't get it. Okay. So, but they do. Most of them do. The majority do. So that's why that was the catalyst for the book. I weave my story in there and everything else and do all these, fundamentals that people don't do that they should do. And really started helping them deeper and deeper. And it's been, and that's really why it happens that way.
yeah, and that really hits home because my background's in strength and conditioning. I got my undergraduate degree in kinesiology, master's in exercise science, performance enhancement, injury prevention, and so I was pretty good at what I was doing, and it made it easy for me to scale my book of business up to the point where I had all these clients and all these sessions and stuff. But nobody teaches you what to actually do, how to like turn it into a business, and what to do outside of just working in the business. And so that was a learning experience for myself. And I wish I had somebody like you in the beginning who was just been like, dude, you gotta do X, Y, and Z to kind of get this moving and smoothing it out a little bit faster.
Yeah, to tie this in with what you did. So I got my first personal training certification in 1993.
Hmm.
One of the first ones. They didn't even have them before then, right? So I'm training people. I did the whole thing, similar to you, right? Not quite. You have way more education than I do, but we got to the point where I'm after I quit the business, right? Now, what am I going to do? I got 6 kids. I had to move. I'm like, well, what do I want to do? Because I was not going to do water features or sculpture ever again. And to this date, 16 years later, I haven't touched them. But I'm like, well, I love to train people. I'll go be a trainer. Look, Anytime Fitness. I'll go there and be a trainer. Okay, because I know how to train. And next thing you know, like I'm all of a sudden I build like 40 clients. I got, I'm killing it, right?
Hmm.
Now I'm trainer of the year at Anytime Fitness. Okay. So I'm like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. What does that mean, right? Let's go open a gym. So I
Yeah.
opened a boot camp style training gym. Man, it was awesome. Created like a belt system and progressions. Really cool. Did that, a lot of fun. Scaled that. But my thing was, if my wife calls me, I need to be at home in 15 minutes to help her out. We're homeschooling our kids and all this stuff. I'm like, so that was my plan. Not much of
Hmm.
a plan, but I said, now figure out how to make that happen. So again, it's trainers, right? It's delegation, having systems when people come in, the whole package. And then I did, roofing, siding, and windows, started the contracting business to do more. And same principle, have other people do the work. As well as I do in that industry, most trainers do their cap really fast. Like you can do okay, even if you're training high end clients, you're still, the ceiling's low.
Hmm.
You got to be able to leverage yourself. So I had to really teach myself that. How does that look? So then I went high end subscription model, right? Boot camp style training, 30-minute workouts, let them pay $200 a month, right? Get 100 clients. Okay, we're doing good, right? Like you're here now, we're rolling. That's good. It's manageable. No showers, nothing. Come in, work out, get out.
Yeah.
Okay, just like you got 35-minute workout, get out. Oh, I got a juice shot for you on the way out. Take that. I'll go. So I did that kind of stuff. But you really had to really start to look at like how's this going to affect the rest of your life. Like you probably found out in that arena.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You think a lot of business owners or like solopreneurs when they're kind of kicking off, do you think that they don't think that, or they just never get to that question or that realization, like, hey, maybe this isn't what I want to be doing my entire life?
Yeah, they don't think about it, dude. The lure. I don't want to. How do I say this? I want to say the lure of easy money. Well, we know that's a lie. Okay,
Yeah.
but the whole thing is that work for yourself and do this. Like I make my own time and all that stuff, which is it's such a fallacy.
Hmm.
Okay, but there's no one there to tell them that. And even if there was, they're probably not going to listen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like me, young. Hey, dude, I'll just outwork it. I'll
Yeah.
make how much you need. I'll go make more money, and I would just go make more money and more and charge more and keep doing that stuff. Never thinking about the business side. Do I want? And I felt like I was going to do it my whole life. I mean, I'm a world class guy, man. I'm internationally recognized. I had a 4-page spread in Practical Welding magazine. Like I taught myself how to weld. What I mean? It's like everybody like so like this is crazy, man. What do I have? I can't be stopped, but you all can be stopped. So yeah, I really don't think they put the thought into it. They're not. We have a little thing we do exit strategy. We do start with the end.
Hmm.
How long and how much? Just ask yourself that question. I don't care what you're going to do. How long are you going to do it, and how much do you want when you get done? What's the payout? If you start with that alone, you may go, oh, because then you're going to reverse engineer how you're going to achieve that in this business that you want to do, right? And all of a
Hmm.
sudden you go, I don't know anything. I know nothing. All I thought is I had to do it, and I get to keep all the money instead of the
Yeah.
boss getting most of it, right? So like that's the quandary, right? But the good news today, there's coaches out there, right? There's people out there who can help you, have been where you want to go, hire them. Didn't have that 30 plus years ago, right?
Yeah.
So there's always a way.
So how did you have any mentors or role models that kind of helped you along the way, or did you kind of reflect off, like take some ideas from so and so over here, or how did you kind
Yeah.
of piece it through, or was it all just trial and fire?
I had really great mentors that I didn't listen to, like billionaire clients who loved me and would give me like, hey, maybe you should think about doing this. Yeah, yeah. What do you know, man? You don't build water features. You just own professional sports teams and manufacturing plants, stuff like that. What do you know about building? I mean, that's the level of stupid I operated at. A
Yeah.
lot of people like that in my life. Like, just I'm a little I guess a little intimidating, at times, especially younger. But they're like they just give me these hints, like, "Hey, you know what? I think you need a bean counter. Like you need someone paying attention to the money, brother. You're making a real lot of money, and you don't look like it doesn't look like you're spending it wisely. Like and here's the funny thing: I don't have any vices, like nothing like that, except like machinery. Okay. Ooh, a $53,000 skid steer. I could use that. I already got one, but another one, I got cash. I bought it for 53,000 because I'm really smart. I'm debt free, right? Just ask Dave Ramsey. Okay. I'm debt free. And then I didn't think this way. I could rent the same machine for about $4,000 for the season when I need it and invest the other 45, 48,000. Nah, that'd be ridiculous. Who wants to do that?
Yeah,
Right.
that doesn't make any sense.
I'm just telling you, it's like I built a website, dude, spent 41 grand
Wow.
on a website, e-commerce website. This is like 2004. Okay, Jonathan. And
Jeez.
for my sculpture stuff right now, get in. This guy's doing it. He's building it. Yeah, insane. Like you go to Wix now and you build the same thing that I
Yeah.
was paying 41 grand for. So, but I'm like, okay, then the guy gets it up and I'm looking at it going, oh, wait a minute. I don't do two of anything. I'm not going to make these benches again. I'm not going to make this again. I'm like, there's no way. It's sold. It's sold. I go, shut this thing down. And I shut the whole thing down.
Well, that's a great investment.
Yeah, 41 grand. Oh, my wife was like, luckily I hit the guns because she probably would have killed me. Right. But it's like, it's that kind of stupid. It's that kind of ego and probably that was driving me just super cash rich.
Mm.
But no investments, no strategy, no anything. Just do more, get in another magazine, win another award, be out front, do the next great thing. I was totally obsessed with that. It was so, man, it's bad. Like I tell my kids now, I said, you need to be who I am, not who I was.
Mm.
Let's just have a distinction there. Okay. That's why I didn't have kids, luckily, when I was in my 20s, because that would have been bad.
Well, so you just mentioned a second ago about exit strategy and how much and how long. So what is that kind of looking like for you now? Where are you trying to are you trying to grow this and then eventually exit the academy and the coaching and stuff? Or
Yeah, we have really looking to help 10,000 business owners create profit, freedom, and impact in their business. So there's a lot to do. It's to be a very high number. It's exciting, and I'm going to take that. I'm not a retirement guy. I'm under that. My favorite saying is retire, put 4 new tires on, and keep going down the road. That's me. Okay, there's no stopping and playing golf or whatever they do in Florida. I'm not doing that stuff, right? So, so my plan is to scale that, to reach that number. That's my next point, right? But at the same time, what I do with my clients too is you're you're doing well, you're making money, right? We have what we call active business income. Okay, you have to take that active business income and now create passive income, right? So your other investments, doesn't matter what it is. It could be real estate, it could be Bitcoin for all I care. I don't care what it is, but you got to do that. So we make a plan for it. And that exit strategy, Rob, when you've gone to the end, you understand your reverse engineering, say, hey, look, I'm a 7-figure earner right now. I'm going to do that for the next 8 years. Sell my business for 10 million, let's say. Well, great. I got to 10 million, sold the business, but what did I lose? A million-year income.
yeah,
Okay, that kind of hurts. Okay, that 10 million is not going to last forever, right? So instead, now we begin. Hey, if I'm going to purchase real estate, what do I need? I have to create $83,000 a month in passive income to replace that seven
yeah.
figure income I have, right? Well, if you plan that and you allocate your money to go there and do this, you can get that. Now, when you exit, you get to 10 mil, you walk away, you got a million, even if you don't work again. Now you got something to do. Now you can move into the next thing, right? And you're loaded for bear. So that's what we try to teach. And there's 2 times I tell people the 2 best times to do an exit strategy is before you begin, before you launch the business. And the second time would be right now.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. That reminds me of like best time to grow a tree 10 years ago. Second best time is like right now to plant the
That's
seed.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to look at this because, yeah, we're excited. We want to get a business. We're concerned about sales. Let's be real. Okay, if I don't make any money, I don't have a business. Okay, so we're all in. You got to be this way. It's the economic engine. Sales is the fuel for the economic engine that is your business.
Mhm.
But we have to look out. We have to be more strategic. And the more strategic you can be in the beginning, okay, the more rapid your success is going to be. You're going to, what we want to do, I like to talk about time compression.
Mhm.
I'll take 10 years and I'll put it into a year for you. Who doesn't want that? Costly mistakes, bad decisions, possibly losing your whole business. That's what coaching does. That's what bringing on experts. You don't know everything and you don't need to know everything. Matter of fact, if you think you know everything, I got news for you. Okay, you're gonna get punched in the face a few times, business wise.
So yeah, that's so it's powerful because I believe that so much. Like coaching, you just expedite the process. You skip over like a lot of the dumb mistakes. Obviously, you can't skip over all the dumb mistakes because we're all always going to make dumb mistakes. But you want to minimize the damage that does happen when it does pop.
That's it. Yeah, and if you can just again, you're leapfrogging.
Yeah.
You're going over the wall and you're there and you're there. And if you ever get out in the world, I'll call it, and you talk to these businesses that all started kind of at the same time, what'd you do? This guy got a coach. He had a mentor. Couldn't afford a coach, so he got a mentor. Someone like my guy, right? Like I really should listen to him. Okay. Like that would have really helped my business.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd still be doing it. Who knows? But you got to get that. And then what's the next level? And you're always learning. You're always going to the next conference. You're always you're investing in yourself. All that, there's a huge ROI to this kind of stuff that people don't understand. I never believed it. I was so full of myself, man. I'm a Marine, man. I'm going to do this by myself. I just put my shoulder down. I work a little harder. You get caught up in hustle and grind nonsense.
Yeah.
I'll just work harder. Well, you can't. It's just like training, being a trainer, right? There's a ceiling. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much leverage you can get from yourself. You know, if you're going to think you're going to do it all, you may succeed. I'll air quote succeed, but dude, it's going to be a crawl. It's going
Mm,
to be brutal, and you might feel good like you overcome all this and you got the grit.
yeah.
Why? Why when the fast track is there for you? Why do you want to sidestep a faster way to it and a better way? That's what I ask people, you know, because I get it.
Now, you're kind of talking, just putting a lot of highlights on the coaching. And I know too, just with coaching, you also get a lot of access to other networks. Like obviously there's other clients that your coach knows a lot of people who can set you up
Yep.
with connections and things like that. So I want to ask you about that. Like how is connections and like the network, how has that helped you over the years? Because I hear you said you had some clients that are worth billions of dollars and stuff. How did you get around all of those in the first place? And even if you could share a little bit too on those competitions and stuff, how did you even get in front of those magazines and things?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like I ended up when I was training early on, I was a member at the Union League Club of Chicago, right? Biggest money in the city goes there, right? Remember, there's a business club, hotel, restaurants, athletics, 3 floors of athletics, pool, the whole thing, right? So I was around these people. Okay, now I grew up with no money, nothing, right? I'm the Marine. I'm swinging a pickaxe. I'm doing this now. I'm trying to
Oh,
build a
$5
business.
an hour. That's pretty
For
good.
$5 an hour, yeah. Well, I'm killing it, yeah. I think you go to jail now if you only pay someone $5 an hour. I don't know how
Yeah.
that works today, but so I'm like, well, I want to get around this because I'm starting to do okay, but how do I get better? And all of a sudden, it is who you surround yourself with. Now I'm around all these guys who are like big hitters, like they're all big hitters. You're like everything from, I mean, like federal judges to, business guys. I mean, some of the best patent attorneys in the world are there, and I know these guys, right? I'm like hanging out with them, and they're taking me on vacation and doing stuff like that. But it really was, they watch me like I'm struggling to build this business, right? And I'm literally moving boulders and rock and stuff like that. And they're like, that's really interesting. And I got a job. This was really cool. And it was about a $40,000 job. Okay. And now the guy owed me like 25,000 at the end, decided he wasn't going to pay me. Okay. Just cause. So I'm like, okay. So I went to one of my friends. He said, listen, was a retired attorney, owned a big law, one of the biggest. I didn't know at the time, but he had the largest like law firm in the country, like collecting for all the banks of the world, like for all of them, right? So I'm like, oh, I go, hey, Dave, can you help me out? Like this guy's not going to pay. He goes, yeah, here, go talk to this guy. So he gives me a guy at his firm. I go there. He goes, I tell him what happened. He goes, okay, no, but all right, just give me a couple days. I'll let you know. I'm going to send him a letter. I'm like, okay, a letter? I'm like, okay. Well, 3 days later, the guy called, my client called me, goes, man, you and your high priced lawyer's terrified because this guy, whatever he wrote, dude, had this guy like shaking. He's like, I'll pay you. Come get your check, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, well, that's really powerful. That was a letter the guy wrote, free for me and just sent this thing. I'm like, no wonder they collect for all the banks, but it's that kind of those connections
Yeah.
and other people in business, like they would help me out. They didn't give me anything. Most of these guys were self-made, which is really cool because their mindset was a little bit different, but they loved the struggle because they went through it. So they would connect me with the right people.
Mm,
That's like you said. It's the network, okay? And it's not like you're going to a networking thing and I'm with a carpet cleaner and a whatever, a painter and this stuff. We're all trying to get each other to do work. And it's a bigger, you have to think bigger. Who you want to get around it's not another, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all. It's not another tiny business guy. Okay, that's not going to move your business
mm,
forward. You're going to commiserate and like slap each other on the back and have a beer and nothing changes. Okay, except you might get a job from him and he might get a job from you. These guys are getting up
yeah.
here. They're in your head. They're showing you strategy. They're introducing you to the people who are giving you growth wisdom. Like, here's where you need to be looking.
Mm,
Here's where you need to set your targets, right? So it's so critical to get around the right people. Like you're saying, I mean,
yeah.
it changed my life. It changed everything I did in business.
Yeah, I love that growth wisdom. I don't think I've heard that being said before, so that's
I just
powerful
made it up.
stuff to kind of consider and think. Yeah, well, it's great. I love it. Oh man, yeah, it's so powerful too because a lot of people like you were saying, like a lot of people, they mean well, they want to grow and stuff, but like you gotta kind of train your eye to see people who can kind of bring more value to it, and you got to look bigger past that quick cash. Like a little, someone can refer you a client here, someone you refer a client there. That's great. But that's only feeding that short term
Yes.
stimulus for yourself. You got to think that bigger term picture, right?
Yeah, it's a level of humility that again I couldn't get to my first 20 years. But now I actually do this thing with new clients. I get a real nice wooden box, it's hinged, got a little latch on it, and there's a brass name tag on it, and it just says my ego. And that's what I said to him. I go, just put it in there and lock this thing and put it on the shelf. If you think you're all that, man, you just look at that box. So
Yeah.
that thing stays in there. You don't let the ego out. It will ruin you. It'll destroy your business. Once in a while, there's a place for that, but it's not really even ego. There's an assertiveness that you need to apply at certain times that are higher levels than others. Kind of like the last 30 seconds of the round.
But
You
yeah,
need to turn it on and knock the guy out, right? It's knockout time. Okay,
yeah,
you got those. It's a short burst, but it's going to take care of business, right? That's what I want to do. So I kind of think of it that way. But you really need to understand your ego needs to be put in check. Go in that box and go with humility, but find the right person because they'll recognize that instantly.
oh
And
yeah,
no one who's super successful will ever look down on someone trying to be successful. They will put their hand down, man, and they will get you to the mountaintop because they know what it takes, and they
yeah.
love that initiative, that enthusiasm, that willingness to do it.
Yeah, I love that. And I was always terrified about like making sure that I could, or terrified that I was going to get stuck and not find more people like that. And I found that really voicing out your dreams, your goals, and talking to more people about it, you can kind of start to suss out some of those individuals. And like I had a lot of close friends and family members even when I first launched my business and I started my supplement line and all these other things. And was getting into public speaking and such. And people are like, yeah, but do you really think that that's probably the best fit for you? Like, oh, maybe you should be doing something a little bit different. Like, they're coming from a state of like protection because they don't want me to go out and push. Whereas some of my very wealthy and successful clients and buddies would just be like, yeah, dude, you got to double down on that. Like, keep pushing for it. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you got to get into that.
I tell people, and I was doing a startup workshop here where I'm at this big co-working space, and I'm doing this thing for people. I said, okay, here's who you're never going to ask an opinion from: your family, your friends. They are disqualified for saying, is your product good or bad? What's wrong with it? Nothing they say holds any water. I said, they're not. I want you to go to a stranger on the street, hold up your product, and say, hey, tell me what's wrong with this. Poke some holes in this thing for me. Do that. You're going to get the most honest opinion. You give them permission to be negative, and then you're going to get, they don't know you.
Yeah.
They're not worried about your feelings, okay? And I get it. I mean, that's how to love is the family part, but it's totally biased.
Yeah.
You can't, of course, unless they want to loan you money. But other than they don't have any say, right? So it's just something to remember because you have to understand where this advice, air quoting advice here, is coming from. From where's it like there's his protection, like you said.
Yeah.
His is, dude, you got to get in gear. We got to see you. People will still talk about when I started, dude, you're talking about rocks. Like, we're like, dude, what's this guy talking about? Like boulders and all that. And then, like, oh, and you asked where, so I did shows like Big Chicago Flower and Garden Show, and you build these big gardens in Navy Pier, and 80,000 people come by in a week and take a look at it, right? So you get some exposure, right? Newspapers there, TV's there. There are clubs that have people reaching out on cable back in the day, like I was doing something new that people didn't have, I created these unbelievable sculptures, right? And then people were seeing it, and like the practical welding people coming by, and they're, oh, a little power outage. Very cool.
There we
It's
go.
real.
Like,
Yeah, but I must not be saying the right thing. But it was, they see it and they go, wow, man, this is like really impressive, man. Can I talk to you for a minute? Like, we're from Practical Welding, want to do an article. Like, okay, cool. So then I got that. Then you just another thing. You know what I mean? You start to add this stuff to the portfolio, right?
yeah.
And you keep building. You get the next thing and the next thing. And you keep going. I'll give you a quick story on the Shit Aquarium, right? So you got John G. Shit Aquarium in Chicago, right? It's huge.
Yeah.
I had done this amazing project at Navy Pier at a show, walk under waterfalls, all this stuff out of steel and everything. So they had asked me, like, hey, we want you to do a commission. We got a new project we're doing at the Shed Aquarium called the Amazon Rising. And we're looking for these artists. We're going to do like 30 of them around the city and all this stuff. So, but I had to submit a picture. They go, hey, do a drawing. I go, oh man, I don't draw. I can't draw anything. And they go, well, it'll be okay. I go, okay, dude, this is going to come from a 3-year-old. So I did like this. It was a really crappy drawing. And sure enough, I got the commission. I did my thing. It's on Michigan Avenue. It's amazing. And they sold it to Beaufort, North Carolina or something else. So I got all that and they did raise all this money. But the issue with it, but then the designer I saw him like, oh, a few months later, he goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, when we were selecting who's going to do what, I'm passing your drawing around, right? And people are laughing, go, this is a joke, right? You're kidding. You're going to pay this guy? You're going to pay him money? Because you got to see his work. You just got to see. So he went to bat for me, man. But again, there's a network.
Yeah.
There's a guy who had seen my work and went me to this whole committee. I mean, they dropped some bank on this whole. It was a huge thing, I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just thought I'm awesome. They're all just laughing at my picture. So, amazing things can happen, if you're just out there and you get in front of the right people.
Well, so speaking of making amazing things happen, where do people go if they're looking to connect with you, if they're looking for some coaching, some guidance, and how do they stay connected with you?
Sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Best place to go. Great stuff on there. Everything from simulators. You can do stuff for your business on there. You can reach out to me, talk to me via there, send emails, whatever you want to do. Sharpenthespearcoaching.com is probably the best way to go.
Awesome. You guys heard it there. Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on, professionalism, you sharing a lot of tips and tricks, great stories. And I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you carving some time out to chat with me and share with the audience here. So thank you so much for that.
I love it, Rob. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. But right before I let you go, though, I got to ask you that good old cliche question. If you were to boil all the information, all the hard lessons that you learned down, and you were to give it to your youngest, what would
I really keep it like 3 words. It's just do hard things. You've got to always reaching for uncomfortable. You got to do what you think you can't, what's going to stretch you, what's going to do you. It needs to become what you do and who you are. There's no, business only goes 2 ways. It goes up or it goes backwards, right? There's no maintaining. It doesn't exist. Nothing in the world. We are dying every day.
Yeah.
Right? We got to move forward. And the only way you're going to do that truly is to challenge yourself and do hard. And that it could be physical, it could be mental, it could be whatever you got. You can write a book and I got to write 500 pages a day. That's hard for me. That's a challenge. I got to do it. I got to create 50,000 words, So whatever that is, if you can live in that mindset, you will watch your growth become exponential. You will do things. You will leave friend groups and go to the better friend groups because you can be around people who want to do hard things. You know it from the gym, right? We go and I kill myself daily in the gym. Okay. People don't talk to me. Okay. I'm rocking a heavy bag. I'm working battle ropes. I'm just crushing it. 35 minutes slamming this, 300 squats. I'm like, I don't care. Okay. Like I'm probably the oldest guy in the gym, but I'm that nut. Right. Because I need that. I need to know I can, for me, it's staying dangerous. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend is really get out there and push yourself in ways you don't want to. And you'll see a big difference in your life.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. Love that. Thank you for that. So there you go, guys. Sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Best place to connect, find out more about coaching and what else he's got going on. Again, Richard, I appreciate this. Thank you so much. This was a great episode. Very, very helpful. Would love to chat again with you again soon, man.
Anytime, Rob.
All right. That's it for us today, guys. Catch you guys next episode. Have you ever felt like your business is running you instead of the other way around? Well, in this week's episode of Surviving the Side Hustle, I had on Richard Walsh. He's a former Marine, best-selling author, speaker, and business coach. And his journey is wild. After building $1 million creative business from scratch, Richard lost everything in the 2008 crash. What came next was even more powerful, though. He realized he'd been chasing more while missing what mattered the most. Now he helps business owners sharpen their systems, recover hidden profit, and build businesses that actually serve their lives, not steal from them. In the episode, we talk exit strategy, ego traps, networking with billionaires, and why every entrepreneur should have a little box labeled "My Ego." on the shelf. If you're building something that's truly bigger than yourself, then this episode is a must listen. So go check out the newest episode of Surviving the Side Hustle today. Peace.